If you're just joining us, you're watching Analyst Hangout right here on iBrandTV. And now we delve into Nigeria's 2023 budget deficit. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Lcci, has said that Nigeria should consider using equity financing as an exclusive way of funding budget deficits. The chamber, speaking on the proposed 2023 federal government budget, said the country's approach should not be to continue issuing only debt, especially with the increasingly unbearable burden of interest payment that exposes our fiscal vulnerability. And of course, I would be directing the first question at you, Ambrose. They are saying that instead of going cap in hand to borrow to fund the deficit, why not look into equities? What are your thoughts on this?
You know, when I had this, I asked myself a question too, that, okay, going to to debt market is through what? Through interest rate, that I'm going to pay you so to borrow me your money, I'll pay so period. Fine, you borrow me. Then you are going to talk of equity. Yes, if the government is going to generate funds that I'm investing, at the end of the day, they pay me interest or they pay me dividend. It depends how they structure it. I believe that it's a good way that they are thinking that direction, but we need to understand how it works. Because if government is going to create more money, and as a federal government, they have access to printing money. Yes, if I'm taking a equity position in government to source to fund the budget. I try to, like, even since yesterday I was trying to look at how it's going to work. But if there's a way they are put it going to work, fine. I think the people that just suggested should also bring.
So you don't seem to agree 100%.
No, I agree. It's workable. Okay. If the framework is made clear and people understand the framework, easily can buy. Because if they are paying interest for the bond they are borrowing, they can also have a way to structure equity. But I believe that for me, for sovereign state like Nigeria, still more of bond market is where we go. That is the way. Either you do it locally or international. But the good thing is that if you do it internationally, because of exchange rates, you know what you want to face. If you do locally, there's no liquidity already, and also borrowing at this high rate, also you're hurting yourself because cost of borrowing is high for the government, and that is why UK government are being careful. Another government, because as far you are increasing interest rates all over the world, you are putting more burden on government, and that's why government can run into a big problem because financing those bond or those their debt is huge because of what new interest rates.
Especially with Nigeria running at a debt burden of over 42 trillion naira. Let me come to you, Mr. Garba Karafi. What do you think of, or what do you make of this proposal by the Lcci? Do you see it as a viable way of financing Nigeria's budget deficit?
My understanding to using equity, meaning that selling some of their capital investment, like NNPC, if they decided to take NNPC to the market, they can raise trillions of money. But I don't suggest that will be the best way of funding this budget. I still believe that debt management we have not reached the level that we cannot borrow more. We have the potential, we have the capacity. So they better go with that DMO. We have seen how the scope is working. I will have suggested that let them go by scope, because scope tied them to the project. Borrow money without knowing where they are taking the money. If you are road, you have to state the road, you have to state the kilometer, and people must be seeing the signboard and see the work is going. So I will prepare to go by that product. That means every simple borrowing is tied with the capital project, which is better for us than rather borrowing to consume.
But Charles, do you also subscribe to these equities? And if you do, what are the bottlenecks you see in the offing?
Well, like he said, it's a little bit of financial engineering, I think I've heard of the case where I think maybe, well, not directly, a country somewhere in Dominican Republic or so, they had something like that, say, equity financing. We need to understand, are you going to be having part ownership of the country? Or are you going to place some of your national assets in the hands of those who will subscribe?
The private investors.
To private investors.
That has to be clearly cut, right?
So I'm looking at it, but maybe the financial modeling people can come and tell us this is the issue. But when you say equity financing, the company or the country now, which is Nigeria, is going to issue shares and people will subscribe. So their subscribing will mean that they are owning part of Nigeria. So you are going to give them some national asset. And how will they get their returns? Like he said, you are going for the fixed income market, debt market. You need your coupon. So if you invest in this equity, in Nigeria equity, how are they going to, is it they're going to declare profit and pay dividend, or they're going to pay dividend from some of their national assets, or we are going to say, okay, just come in foreign direct investment. We're going to give you the land free.
Okay.
So apparently there are still a lot of requirements, or the criteria should be clear.
I've not really seen where it has been done anywhere in the world.
Yes.
I've not seen it.
Okay.
But maybe, okay, you can go ahead.
Actually, like what you just said, that just come to my mind now. There are a lot of assets that are moribund in Nigeria.
Okay.
Instead of you thinking of going for equity, I think those assets you should watch, either you privatize it to raise funds, or you sell it off actually to raise funds to invest than these are things I don't think that we'll have a lot of moribund, abandoned projects here and there, a massive rate that we can raise more. But if you can convert those assets to cash by either selling
to foreign investors or local investors,
just they can have money to support what they're doing. And also, I tell them, in government, it's not only just trying to raise funds. What do you do this for? Like Lcci said,
absolutely.
Yes. What do you do this for? Because we have not seen more change.
I think we'll just land it there. Let's move on to this next story, and this is by Dangote Cement. Of course, looking at the invasion that happened recently, and of course, what's the impact on the stocks of Dangote. The share price of Dangote Cement PLC had not changed as at Saturday, October 8, despite the invasion of its Obajana cement plant by the Kogi State government on Wednesday. The invasion, which allegedly resulted in the shooting of several workers of the Dangote cement plant in Obajana by the state security outfit, was frontally condemned by the organized private sector operators under the aegis of National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA. Reports show that the company's share price, which opened trading 245 naira and 4.17 trillion naira in market capitalization on Wednesday 5th, before the invasion, closed at the same share price and value at the close of trading on Friday, October 7, 2022. According to Mr. Mike Eze, Managing Director of Crane Securities Limited, the stability of the price in the face of crisis, despite the current bear run, showed positive sentiment in the stocks. I'll start with you, Mr. Garba Karafi. As of last week, October 8th, to be precise, the shares of Dangote Cement seem to not have been shaken despite the invasion of its Obajana plant by the Kogi State government on Wednesday, October 5th. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, you only see the receiving end of the closing price. We that are in the market, we see different.
Yes.
Because I can tell you that in the market, it opened at 2022. So therefore, it shows. But because there was no single transaction of 100,000 units at that price, so that price is not registered. But you could have got it much 10% lower than the price you are seeing in the market. So it was shaking because there is more offers than bidders. And that is one sign of showing that people are like wait and see. And some are in panic to sell their own. So that is one. But since there was no single transaction of 100,000 at that price, you wouldn't see it. Secondly, that is the wrong way of approaching the business. We are trying to increase more foreign investors coming to us. If the local investors will be approached in this way, because to me, this is not the right way. We have court of law, we have all these. This is a quoted company. You can go to SEC, you can go to IST, and you can get your judgment within 90 days. Why taking this other way? That is not the way. And then forget that in Kogi State, there is Chinese cement industry which is working there. Lcci Iron Mangal is building a $300 million capacity in that the same Kogi State. So Kogi should handle it with care. I believe that it doesn't warrant what we are hearing on the papers. Yes, you may disagree, but it can be resolved much better than the way we handle it.
Okay. Well, you are saying, okay, so what are your thoughts on this? Do you see this as...
yes, you need to create an enabling environment for investors. I think I will mention his name. Alhaji Dangote is one of the pillars of Nigerian economy. We know
so you have 30 seconds to do this because we have to wrap up.
In terms of this economy. However, the approach from this Kogi State government is taking laws into their hands. Like my senior colleague said, if you have concern as to the ownership, the documentation, how it was transferred to him, then it's to seek redress in court, or that there's IST. And get,
let me get Ambrose's thoughts as we wrap up.
For me, I think I can see that they move from the government aspect of it to weigh into this issue. I think they can settle it amicably if federal government is coming in. And
it's actually in court.
Yeah, court. Even I can say that of court if federal government can handle it very well. Because this is a government plus private sector. Sector. I believe that it can be settled amicably. But Dangote has come to stay in Nigeria. It's a household name in terms of investment, in terms of productivity. Let investors not panic. I believe that at the end of the day, let's see their technical.
That's Ambrose's slog line. Investors do not panic. But thank you so much for being a part of the show, Ambrose Omodio, CRO Invest Data Consultant Limited. Also, a very big thank you to you, Charles Fakroha, iBrandTV Senior Analyst. Thank you for coming on board.
Thank you.
And also thank you so much, Mr. Kasimu Garuba Karafi, MD CEO, APT Securities. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Doyen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Have a fantastic weekend. My name is Omobolanle Adeshi. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.